All right, senior day here at the Bruins, final regular season game. Bruins coming away with a 79-71 win. Coach, we played this team earlier in the game, or in the season, excuse me, and fell short at their place. And we came off a tough loss to Toccoa. So coming into tonight, what was kind of the mantra, the message against Trinity to close out the season strong?
They play tough defense. They're probably the most physical team in our region. Maybe not every single game, but over the course of my tenure here, they've kind of had the reputation for hitting their boards hard, being physical on defense, everything legal. Not saying that, they just tend to get some scrappy guys, and I just challenge us to be the most aggressive team and be the scrappiest team today. And we did a lot of that in the first half. I've talked to you about kills before, and we finished with our highest number of kills at halftime, and then one of our lowest number of kills in the second half. I really, I wanted to finish a little bit better second half this game. I am always thankful for a win. I wanted to finish with a little bit more momentum going into the region tournament.
We knew coming into this one the regional implications that this would have, potentially giving us the number 2 seed as opposed to a number 3 seed, which of course at regionals means you can actually play an extra day in the quarterfinals. So for us to get a win, what does it say to the guys in terms of, especially this guy in the middle here, the way he played tonight, about us gutting through and getting a win going into regionals?
It's good. I mean, we had to make up those COVID games, and so we just came back from a long road trip. I'm glad that this is our last regular season game. I'm glad we do it that way. And, Trinity is a top 10 team. I don't remember what their last ranking was. I think it was 5 or 6. But to play well against them, to respond after getting beat at their place, to respond after we lost an overtime game at Toccoa, being out of their schedule with Bible conference this week, I thought they did a really good job. I had to be away for a funeral yesterday, and unfortunately wasn't able to be at practice, and I felt like they were well prepared. I thought Dan did a good job. Dan's started at times this year. He's come off the bench this year. He deserved starting tonight, and he did well in his starting job. And then what Dan has really done maybe more this year than at any time in his career is he's gotten to the point, he's been in this offense enough where he subs for different people. It doesn't have to be at one position. He's able to basically take 3 or 4 spots on the court for us, and he does a really good job. Dan was not blessed with a 44-inch vertical leap, and so seriously, and I wasn't either when I played, and so Dan boxes out really well. He's got really good technique, and Dan gets most of his rebounds with about a ½ inch under his feet, but he does well doing that, and he defends well also because of that. And I'm not being funny there. He really does do those things really well, and that's been a big bonus. A lot of people just look at him for his 3-point shooting, and I think they overlook some of the other little things that he does that help us win sometimes.
Last question for you, Coach. Obviously, we honored these 2 guys before the game. What have they meant to the program as a whole? And then we'll talk to these guys about their experience here.
Dan came in his freshman year, and he was originally just going to be a practice player. We didn't have a reserve team yet. And, we had a lot of people back from our championship run. And then we had a pretty big recruiting class. And through different injuries and different circumstances, I believe I'm correct in saying it, but Dan, right after he got on the team and was on ESPN playing against Furman, thrown right into the heart of it, ended up finishing that freshman year on the freshman all-region team. And so he went from not being on the team to obviously playing a key part in that. He's been a part of a couple of region championship games. I like to praise what he's done on the court, but I'd also like to just talk a second real quick about what he's done off the court. He's been a captain for a couple of years. He's led our community outreach even when he wasn't a captain. Is a president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee for the NCAA, and has done a lot of outreach things, runs Christian camps at his church in the summer and in the off season. And that's what I spoke about before the game. I appreciate having guys like that in our program, and I hope our program is always about that. I hope our program is never basketball first. I hope it's what basketball can allow us to accomplish and allow us to reach. And I think Daniel has modeled that as well as anybody that's been in the program, and I think the program is better because Daniel's been here. And then Caleb came on as a volunteer assistant at first, a volunteer manager at first, just because he wanted to be part of the program. His dad's a high school coach, and so basketball's in his blood. He's a Duke fan like me, and that's really important to acknowledge right here. And so I think it came down between him and a North Carolina loving manager, and so I chose a Duke loving manager to be able to be here. And so he's been able to come on full time the last couple of years, and he's going to go back to his high school and be involved back with his athletic administration and helping his dad coach his high school basketball team. And I think it's great. I think he'll be able to take a lot from his experience here and use it in his future ministry.
Caleb, we'll go to you and then we'll end with Daniel. But just looking back over your time with the program, just what you're going to take away from being a part of Bruins basketball the last 3 years.
Yeah, it was something Coach Miller was talking about before the game. He talked about, in a family and a team, everybody plays their role. Obviously my role is not to go on the court and score 20 points, but, whether it's behind the scenes or just taking care of things like during the game, something as simple as getting guys water, just doing that to the best of my ability and really perfecting my role.
Daniel, kind of same question for you. It's hard to believe, man. 4 years ago, as Coach, you said, the journey that you've been on, even tearing your ACL last year and coming back from that, just what you're going to take away from your 4 years here.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm really thankful for how things happened that I got on the team, because I've given my testimony before, and initially when I was told no, it really made me think about why I was playing basketball in general and what my purpose was. Because in high school I wanted to play football, and it came to Bob Jones when we moved here, and I wanted to play basketball, but I never really thought about why I wanted to play. And something that I've just tried to take away from that and preach to the guys as well is that basketball and anything that God gives us, not just basketball, is a platform. I think especially the Apostle Paul in Philippians when he talks about prison basically being a platform for him with the different opportunities that he had. And so I'm just really thankful for the platform that basketball has given me and for the perspective that God has graciously allowed me to have. And that's kind of been what's allowed me to be, by God's grace, stable throughout ups and downs of basketball, tearing my ACL, coming back, just different team dynamics and everything. And I'm just very thankful for the influences of coaches, teammates, just helping me to stay focused on the right perspective. And I'm just really thankful for the opportunities that basketball has given me to have a platform with teammates, with people in the school, and down the road as well.
Obviously, it's memorable to talk about senior day, but thankfully the season's not over. So, Coach, we go into regionals next week. We'll close with you here. What do we take from today as we go into the regional tournament? Obviously, we're not 100% sure what the seeding's going to shake out to be, but as we go into the tournament, what are we taking from today into next week?
One thing I'm proud of today is we needed to win a game during the regular season. We needed to win a game with our defense. And even though we had 4 guys in double figures again, that it was not a hot shooting night by the guys who are normally our hot shooting scorers. And I think it's good for us that we had to do that. I do want us to finish our games better, though. I mean, if you look at Pensacola, if you look at Toccoa, then you look at this game, we're making the last 4 minutes interesting. We're not defending the 3 well. In the last article that I did for you, we talked about that, and I talked about how we were not going to do that again, and then we did it again. And we're putting them in those situations in practice. I'm just going to keep putting them in those situations. It's not like we're not working on it. And what I've been telling them about a growth mindset is just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it just means it hasn't happened yet. And as a coach, I still have to believe that we're going to do that. Even though they haven't done a great job in the last couple of games, they just haven't done a great job yet. I still feel like they've got the ability to do that. I feel like the region tournament brings about a lot of focus, and we've been doing a better job with rebounding, with turnovers, and all of that. So I feel like we finished the season with a lot of momentum, and I feel like the shooting will come. We'll have a couple of days of rest, and then we'll travel, and I feel like we usually shoot pretty well on that gym, and I feel like no matter who our first round opponent is, we'll probably shoot pretty well there, and hopefully have a good game.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.